Welcome to this episode of the PA System. I am here with Kent and Rebekah Wyatt of WyattWove. Welcome to the show, Kent and Rebekah.
Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you.
Such a joy and pleasure to be here with you. I'm super excited for this conversation. We have some really fun things to talk about. And so just to kind of start us off, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got started on this mission that you're on now.
We actually started out, my personal part of this started out back when I was just a kid. Rebekah and I actually met when we were kids, and we were apart then for a long time and came back together later. But so we have been in that mode for a while of knowing each other. But my part started when I was just a kid telling stories to other kids, and always been interested in creative storytelling and things like that. The thing that God had for me, though, was much different than what I anticipated. When I was about 13, I started writing stories. And at that time in my life, I thought that's where everything was going to go. But the Lord had a different idea, because he knew that I needed more experience to write the kind of things that he wanted me to write. So he sent me on a 30-year life experience journey as being a police officer. So I was a police officer for over 30 years in 7 different agencies and 4 different states all over, and doing everything from chief of police to dispatcher. And so it is something that I got full experience of what I can now write about. And it was just amazing how he brought us through that. And then Rebekah came back into my life, and she has been the most enriching part of the storytelling process now for me, because she will come in and she will take what I write and she'll edit it and create it and make it better. She'll find all the problems that I have with it. So he has made us and woven us, to use the WyattWove theme there, into something that is better than what we could be separately. And certainly he has come in then and woven himself in there as well.
That's so beautiful. I love how he does that. And, I feel like this couldn't be more appropriate for February, right? Just to be able to share your story and how he's used that. So tell us a little bit more about that, what that journey has looked like.
Well, it's been something that I always tell people. I said when we were younger, we both fell apart, and then we came back together. And so that is something that he's brought us to the place where now we can write stories that truly capture, I think, the romance, because he actually has built that into us. It's been a long, hard journey. I think everybody has had that issue, but we have been there. And as we've allowed him to grow more a part of our lives, then he has brought us together so that we can create something together that is far better than what we could ever do apart.
It's been really nice. It's helped our marriage. When you write a book and you're writing romance in your suspense book, and you have to really teach your husband about women, and you're just like, okay, don't you get this? But you're a woman and you get it. Yeah. And so, and when I read a book to him that a woman has written, that has not consulted obviously with a man, he'll just laugh. He's like, that the man's not going to act that way. And so I've learned a lot about men and about my husband, and it really has been a blessing for us.
And the one thing that we really use most is that we incorporate God in the process of writing. And that's the part that I will take my writing and I will put it together the best I know how to do it, asking God for help to do that. I'll take it to Rebekah. She'll look at it and send me back to the drawing board and tell me, no, that's not going to work. And so we'll start that. And we'll usually come to a place in the writing journey on a certain book that we're doing or whatever, where it'll be the meltdown period, where it'll be, I hate the book, it's never going to work. We might as well scrap this one, go do something else. And then we'll sit down and we'll start praying and we'll start fasting. I actually now like to try to write my characters into a hole, write them into an impossible situation. There's no place they can get out. I don't even have a clue how they're going to get out. and we pray our way out. And I think that brings authenticity, hopefully, to the characters, showing that that is really how life works for a Christian. God, we're always getting ourselves in holes, but then the Lord will come in and he'll help. If we start praying to him, he comes in and gets us out.
That's so beautiful. So in that process then, and really kind of in this overall process, obviously you've had to transition a lot, right? You changed from being in one world into this completely different world. How does that translate into your writing and what you're sharing with your readers?
Well, everything that I write has a little piece of me and a piece of that life in it. You can find different scenes in all of the books that are related. One of the scenes in Seeing Beyond, the first book we wrote, is a scene that I've recreated from an experience in when a female officer she encountered a burglar, and all she knew how to do to stop this burglar was keep pushing him down, pushing him down, pushing him down, while the rest of us are trying to find her because she was in this odd place where we couldn't quite see her. And so we're desperately trying to get to her while she's panicking on the radio and trying to keep this person down when he's much bigger than her, and all she could do is just keep dancing around him and pushing him down. She did a fantastic job, and we finally were able to get there and help her and get this guy captured. But then to take that scene and turning it into something else in Seeing Beyond, where the character is in a different situation, but the flavor of that same event is still there. And there's a lot of things like that. The transition has it's been a transition, but it's also been really important to hold on to what I had, that experience that I captured in there. And then Rebekah, when she takes the book, she will then incorporate into that some of her experiences that she has and tell me, now let's not do that, or let's do that. And then she'll start bringing in a deeper part of that female character or a deeper part of the other things. So
I love that. And so how has that helped you in your writing, to really connect with your readers? Just, not just the transition piece, but having this prior experience and now having sort of almost like this different life of sorts.
Yeah, it's really, I think those parts are the parts that mean a lot to people. When we write something about something that was actually happened to us, you can feel that, and you can feel that come out in it. I think it brings in some things that you wouldn't get if you were just writing it from complete imagination. Although my imagination is pretty vivid, and you'll see that all of our books, they have kind of a larger than life edge of reality feel to them. They're just right there, and gives people a chance to kind of step a little beyond the curtain, and that's what we want to. And that's a lot where the Lord comes in, and he will give us things that hopefully will give people a chance to connect with the spirit of that whole writing journey, whatever that book is about, that would bring him into it in a way that shows people that God is always back there behind the scenes, and he's always there trying to connect with us, trying to get us to live our lives in a way that's going to be fruitful. And just everything that's always back behind the scenes that he has, he's pushing, always trying to get there. And that's a little bit the way our books are trying to capture that. We're right there on the edge. We're just ready to step into a whole bigger reality. And here it is in the story.
That's so powerful. I love that you said that, because I think that that's so true about our lives, right? That God always wants to lead us into something bigger and better. And it's almost like your books are representative of that, is what I'm hearing. And I know that, this is a partnership effort between the two of you. Rebekah, I would love to hear kind of your side of, what happens during this process, and what it's like for you. You're not writing the book, but you're putting a lot of energy and heart into this as well. And just what it's like, kind of preparing to put a book like this out.
It is an interesting thing because I can't write worth beans. And so to live with someone who can write so spectacularly is it is awesome, and it drives you nuts. So you get both and everything in between. And it's just such a gift. I didn't realize what God was doing with us when we were married, over 30 years ago, that he was going to use my love of reading and to augment his beauty in writing. And so I have read so many thousands of books through the years, and it really helps me to say, okay, this is really cliche.
I hear that a lot.
He hears that a lot.
Fortunately.
I just don't accept cliche. I just say, no, you can write better than that with God's help. And so he goes back to the drawing board over and over and over. So when I get something, I'll go through it and I'll say, oh, I'll highlight everything that is just what I call his words dancing, and where the Holy Spirit is just, coming through and shining through. And then everything that's cliche, or I just don't like the way it's worded and things, we'll talk about it. And we used to just kind of have real knockdown drag outs with these. He wanted to keep his babies, and he did not want to lose different lines and all kinds of stuff. But we've gone through 10 years of it, and it's a lot easier. His first romance was just terrible. And it's actually the book that he first wrote is the one that has just recently been put out. And so it's been edited over and over and over. And now the romance is just excellent. And so, so his second book, which is the first book he put out, Sea and Beyond, he was writing it, and I started reading it. I'm like, oh, wow, my husband got this romance just nailed. And he said, oh, you think the sheriff is romantic? And I said, isn't he the hero? And he says, well, he wasn't going to be, but I guess he is. So, now by after that book, he knows how to write romance. And it's so beautiful because it helped our marriage. It helped him to understand women that were just, you know what I mean? But it helped me to understand my husband. And so it really helps when you have someone who's going to be honest with you. If you're a writer, if you can just tell them, if there's spots that are just stupid, please tell me. And if you can really take it, really a lot of abuse, and yet writing just when it's just magnificent, it's worth it.
If every writer had that, I mean, it would just make that is the key for me, is having that honest feedback that somebody else wouldn't give me probably.
Yeah.
And it's something that, like she said, we've had some issues with because I want to hold on to those things like every writer does. So one of the big things that always they say, you've got to kill your darlings, and Rebekah kills them first. But I am, when you find somebody like that as a writer, that is gold. You should hold on to them, treat them far better than I do to her.
He treats me good. He does. But we are a couple. I mean, we just, it's just how it goes. So when you live with your editor, it really helps. I mean, you can't, he can tell me off, but it's like, you don't get a letter in the mail or an email and say, could we have you do this and fix that? And then you can go out for a day or two and say anything you want. Nah, you got to live with the person. But it does bring such a richness, especially when you're writing a book from from a male and a female standpoint. Yeah. And that's what we do. So it really makes a difference. And so if you are a female writer, get a man to help you out. And get a woman that will be honest. So that's what we do.
Yeah, beta readers are so important. We have a bunch, after we get through it, that we have a whole team that we send it off to all parts of the country and those people start going through it. We have everything from homeschool moms in Colorado to people locally that will sit there and just start tearing it apart. And those people are so important. We've had people that have really saved us just by reading something that we didn't see ourselves and saying, "Are you sure you want your character, this special needs young woman, to do this?" And we sat back and we said, "Wow, no, we don't want that at all." And that book fortunately didn't. And that is so important, is to get strong editing and beta readers.
Love that.
Many wise counselors wage war.
Sure. Yeah, because I don't think very many people could probably live with their editor, and very many writers would be able to stomach that. So, yeah,
or editors
wise.
Maybe work the other way around.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't find it, like coincidental that we're having this conversation in February. When the topic of romance is sort of at the forefront of people's thinking. And I know that this will be some really fun content for people to, get their hands on. But one of the other things that I really wanted to just kind of ask you about is what God has done, in you, in the two of you, through this process. And what about that do you want to
the process of our growth and our stories has in a lot of ways mirrored the growth in our relationship. And we have been in places where, like Rebekah said, there comes time, like every couple, why are we even together? We're so different. But really it starts out at the beginning, man, a woman, they are so different. Why are they? But God knows that we need, just like our stories need editing and strong opposing views to sharpen us. Iron sharpens iron. And inside of a marriage, if you can have that, where you can sharpen each other, that makes a whole difference in the dynamic of not only your marriage, but in your walk with the Lord. So there's a reason why marriage is the way it is. There's a reason why a man and a woman come together in that way and use each other to sharpen each other and change each other into something that they couldn't be on their own. And so those are things, I think that's one of the things that we have seen in our relationship, is that now we are seeing, how could we ever be apart, and how could we ever do the things we do without the other? There's no way that I could write my stories. There's no way that Rebekah could do her cards without my technical assistant, all the different things that, but it goes far deeper than that. It's an emotional thing and a spiritual thing, that there's no way the two of us could even exist apart in any meaningful way anymore. We are not separate. We are together. We are bound together. And just like God said, and no man should separate that. And that whole process has been the thing that has, for us, strengthened us along with the strengthening of our stories.
We have become one flesh.
Yes.
Something, for years, I just didn't know that we would become such a loving couple. So it's been a wonderful process. The Christian walk sometimes is very difficult. God does a lot of changing in us. And the books have been such a gift to us.
And then we try to pour that back into the books to let people know, what through our characters, to let them know this is the way things are, that we do chisel away at each other, and the Lord uses adversity. We never become better sitting around on a couch somewhere eating chocolates and watching movies, and we become better when God puts us to the fire. It's just the way we are. It's the way He intended it. It's the way He does things. If you're not being tried and tested, then I would stand by, because He's got something for you. If you're going to go deeper with God, it's going to take it that direction.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And I think it's really encouraging, for us to just know that whatever happens in our relationships, we all are going to have those challenges, but that God is there to help us to
Mhm.
get through those,
Mhm.
and that he wants to. And if we ask him, he will. And sometimes that means, maybe we need a little help and support along the way. Maybe we need some people to come alongside us, but just to know that he has a plan, he has an intention for us, as couples, like you were saying, like you have now become one flesh, right? And so he can really use that in beautiful ways. And so I think what's really amazing about your story is how he has brought so much, out of both of you individually, but then also together in this work that you're doing. And so tell us just, how people can connect with you more and find out more about what you're doing and how to get your books and all the good things that you have available.
And we try to make it real easy. If you go to www.WyattWove.com, you can find everything there and find links to everything, all of our books, all of that. Rebekah's scripture cards, which we have some examples back here of the colored versions. And we love also, if anybody wants to color us a card, that we will put that on the website. We have there everybody from 6 to 95 on our website that have colored cards for us. But we just recently got an email that we're going to sit down and read after we get done here, of a person in a cancer clinic that said, I got one of your packages when I was at the cancer clinic, and it meant so much to me. And those we give out free. You can go to the website and download those for free. We want just people to be able to grab a hold of something there that will help them out in those kind of times.
That's so beautiful. So yes, again, for those of you who are listening and not watching tonight, WyattWove, that's WYATT and then WOVE.com to check out all of their incredible writing and artwork. Rebekah is an artist as well, and that's almost an entire other show in and of itself. We just scratched the surface tonight, but I'm so grateful to have had the two of you here this evening to share your story and your beautiful, amazing work with us. And are there any closing thoughts you'd like to share with the audience before we wrap up?
Yes, I would like to say, I see writers a lot. We go to writers guilds. If you write only one book and you feel like, oh, it's not going anywhere, remember, you might have wrote that book just for yourself.
Yeah.
God may have had you take the journey and write a book that enriched your life. And so don't think that it was for nothing. If God's put it on your heart to write something, write it and ask people to pray for you and go through that process. You may never want anybody else to read it, but don't not write it, So I'm not a writer, but my husband, I'm so glad that he has just kept on this journey and kept going. So that's what I would say. Write what God gives you to write, and don't worry if only one person reads it or 10 million. So
and it's it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You're in it for the long haul. And if you one writer sent me a thing that being a writer and not expecting to get negative reviews is like being a fighter and not expecting to get punched. And I would say the same thing with your editors, that you need to take the hits in order to make it good. Take the sculpture needs the chisel.
Not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, no, I mean it is definitely not that. It is not. It's not a sitting around idea of what most people have for what writers do. It's I have just to lock myself in this hole so I'm not out watching squirrels out the window or something. I close my windows and I get down to it, because you only have so much time in your life to get stuff done, and you have to work. Getting in the chair, getting the work done, that's what gets the book written.
Well, it's so beautiful. I've been an avid reader my whole life, and I love few things more than a really great book. So, I'm excited to even have the opportunity to dig into some of your writing as well, because I've not had a chance to do that yet.
But thank you, Pamela.
Yes, absolutely. So wonderful to have you here this evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you got something out of this conversation, please, by all means, share it out. Someone else may as well. It may be a blessing to them. And thank you again, as always, for being with us. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Good night, everyone.